What's good, y'all? It's the Taco Legend back again with another video, and today I'm back with another horror reaction. Today I have the series that probably everybody's been waiting for, the Monument Mythos. This has probably been one of the most requested series, and part 1 is here. And yes, I say part 1 because this series is really long. So this first part's gonna be like, I think about like 24 minutes. Let's see how close I can get it. 24 minutes. We're gonna be going from, hold on, let me look at the playlist real quick. We're gonna be going from Liberty Lurker all the way down until Lincoln Looker, which actually rhymes pretty well. And then in the second part, I'll just finish the rest of season 1, which will be about like, I think about like 40 minutes probably. And this is gonna be part 1, so let's freaking do it. Also, if y'all want to get part 2, make sure to get this video to at least, how many likes should we do? Let's do 20 likes again, and I'll give y'all part 2. Without further ado, the Monument Mythos, let's do it! The following audio is an excerpt from an 1889 interview with the designer of the Statue of Liberty. In 1949, the statue underwent extensive renovations. The official blueprint behind the changes, titled STLI something, provide entrance for sustenance. I did not get to read that. We're looking at the blueprint right now. Engine. Wheels. Drain gang. Waste storage. During the summer of 1954, thousands of immigrants described a foul odor while passing through Ellis Island. Whoa.
Se già la costa è così, diceva mio padre, immaginate quanto puzzeranno le città. Ricordo di aver sentito altre famiglie dire quasi scherzosamente che volessero tornare a Milano per via dell'odore. La mia famiglia aveva spruzzato profumo e acceso candele per tenere lontano il fetore, ma funzionava solo per un'ora o giù di lì, finché l'aria diventava di nuovo insopportabile. Le serate erano così calde, rimasi per lo più sveglia, anche se il resto della mia famiglia dormiva profondamente. Ricordo che guardavo fuori dalla finestra ogni notte e vedevo file di persone che venivano condotte alla Statua della Libertà dai funzionari. Se solo fossero saliti sul piedistallo, i funzionari se ne sarebbero andati e non sarebbe successo nient'altro. La mattina seguente però ci sarebbe stato un odore peggiore, come un mattatoio.
So they're just killing folks in there. The Ellis Island Immigration Station closed the following November. First sighting of the Liberty Lurker. Title of the video, by the way. Whoa. Upon investigation, local authorities likened the waste storage compartment to a mass grave. If you have family members who were last seen at the Ellis Island between the years 1949 and 1954, you may be entitled to compensation. Yeah, just give me my money for my dead relatives. August 7th, 2003. The National Park Service finds the Mount Rushmore National Memorial vandalized. Whoa. U.S. government can fund mass murder if it's labeled as a national monument. Every day, executions occur in 2,600 American landmarks. The blood of liberty will be avenged. The souls of Lincoln will be freed. August 14th, 2003. More messages are found on Mount Rushmore. I will introduce infection next week, Monday through Sunday. Watch the symptoms. What do you mean by that? August 18th. Due to security concerns, the National Park Service assigns patrols for the next 7 nights. The patrols are told to videotape all anomalies from 10:12 to 10:13. Monday. You about to see the infection in action. Freak is that? Wednesday. Thursday. A person? Friday? I could not tell what that was, but I hear talking though. It's some creature, but it's all blurry. Saturday. Remove lens cap. Remove lens cap? The freak is that sound, dude? Sunday. Whoa. Mount Rushmore smells just like baby powder nowadays. I think it comes from the stuff that the workers put on their heads. Yeah, I see them do it all the time. They go from Washington to Lincoln every night, powdering it like a baby. Hannah McL. Was that the sound? Like, was it a baby crying? That's what it sounded like. Alcatraz. Alcatraz Island. 2 days before therapy. Map of United States military prison, Alcatraz Island. Got another freaking map. Fortifications. Tunnel. Reservoirs. A water tower. Morgue. I mean, I can understand why they would have that. Stockade/yard. Detector shed. Main prison. Ruins. Notice how there's a question mark. tennis courts. They cut it off right as soon as they got to that weird looking thing, dude. That was one day before therapy. But what is the therapy that they're talking about? Alcatrazosis. Is that a disease? I think it is. What is that stuff? They're making like cells. They can reproduce him. Radiation therapy session 1. So that's the therapy they were talking about. Oh, okay. Projected movement. 1950. It's turning. What is that? Oh, it's like a parasite, bro. One day after therapy. Whoa. As of 2020, the Alcatraz zone extends to West Texas. That was 2 years ago. Dean Democracy. A look back at America's 37th president.
During a program of ABC Evening News, anchor Peter Jennings told viewers to look forward to next week for a special broadcast of national significance. Jennings would continue to remind viewers of the special broadcast over the next 7 nights, even referring to it at one point as the most unprecedented announcement in recent history. A week after its first mention, Jennings reminded viewers of the special broadcast one last time, asking them to pay attention later that night for an exclusive look at the greatest gift to the American people. Due to the anticipation built over the week, over 60 million Americans tuned into ABC, waiting for the evening news to end and for the special broadcast to begin. There were countless theories as to what would occur, from the announcement of alien life to the declaration of an all-out nuclear war. Speculation was brewing intensely. Once the evening news program ended, a black screen with a 10-second countdown commenced with the title Dean Democracy. Some viewers, so terrified of the threat of nuclear war, reportedly experienced nervous breakdowns and ran down the street, declaring that Dean Democracy was the code name for an all-out nuclear holocaust. Yet once the countdown ended, all fears were soon replaced with tears of joy and an excitement not seen since the end of World War II.
What are we waiting for? Let's bring them back home.
Dean for president?
In the seconds following James Dean's presidential announcement, hundreds of thousands of neighborhoods erupted into celebration. Although other candidates had promised to end the Vietnam War, none had so accurately expressed the same anger that they had felt, which Dean had perfectly conveyed in a 15-second broadcast. Due to popular demand, the ABC Evening News was canceled the next night, replaced by a 30-minute loop of James Dean's presidential announcement. The broadcast was watched again by over 38 million Americans, and the parties continued for the rest of the week. Due to repeated assassination attempts on Robert Kennedy, the Democratic Party presidential debates were canceled for the 1968 election season. However, this proved to be no issue for Dean, as polls indicated that he was in the lead for the entirety of 1967 and 1968, despite having had fewer public appearances and rallies than any other candidate. The strength of his campaign relied on the powerful advertisements he directed that would air every Friday evening on ABC. The series of programs would be considered by many as another weekly TV series, and went on to become the highest-rated TV show on television after the conclusion of Star Trek in 1967.
Dang.
Although a presidential debate was eventually scheduled 2 weeks before the election, James Dean instead invited opponent Richard Nixon to a track to race cars on the same night. Although reluctant at first, Nixon eventually agreed and went to spend the entire day with Dean, reportedly even telling the actor, "To hell with it, I'm voting for you. You're already a better president than I'll ever be." This statement, although only a rumor, would spread like wildfire in tabloids and permanently curbed Nixon's chance for victory. On the morning of November 1st, 1968, 4 days before Election Day, anti-Dean groups hijacked radio channels and told civilians they were fed up with James Dean and that television was ruining American youth. After the broadcast, the groups went on to cut hundreds of power lines in the southeast, effectively preventing any of Dean's presidential ads from reaching any household below Tennessee. Dean quickly heard of the incident and, despite the risk of an assassination, flew down to the south and quickly went to work with local electricians to repair the broken power lines. James Dean would be met with a supportive crowd, primarily younger voters who were eager to see a younger face back in the White House. Elderly white conservatives, often the parents of the younger supporters, remained in their houses and occasionally peered through their window blinds to catch a glimpse of the handsome candidate. Although it wasn't known to Dean at the time, hate groups in the South had perpetuated the idea that he was Satan in disguise, and cited his good looks and his love for jazz as being clear signs of the devil.
Dang, bro. 1969, James Dean's America. Why is he walking like that?
James Dean is no man.
Produced by the Anti-Dean Association?
Elderly white conservatives in the Southeast would be the only demographic unfazed by his campaign, yet Dean continued to travel from state to state, repairing power lines for 4 days straight until the very morning of the election. On November 5, 1968, James Dean received 75% of the popular vote with 395 electoral votes. Nixon congratulated Dean in a phone call the following morning, but Dean refused to acknowledge the win and instead asked to race cars again at the track. On January 20th, 1969, James Dean held his inaugural address at the official Capitol Raceway. Although presidents in the past had speeches that were typically around 20 minutes, Dean spoke for less than a minute.
I have a speech, and it has the flotsam that you people expect to hear. But that's not fair. No, that's not fair at all. I'm here for all of you. It's only fair that you speak for yourselves. My words shouldn't be louder than yours. So I brought many other guests to speak. They're just people like you and I. In the same time that many other presidents have spoken by themselves, America will speak. Thank you.
Dean proceeded to introduce many groups to the microphone, including civil rights activists and Native American families. Martin Luther King Jr. would also come forward to speak in his first appearance since an attempt on his life 9 months prior. President Dean would conclude the inauguration with a brief bongo performance and went on to race Richard Nixon at the track. In subsequent presidential inaugurations, those who disagreed with the elected president would instead celebrate Dean Democracy Day and protested by watching Dean's unique take on the address in place of the actual one. In a
April
televised address,
20th.
President Dean planned to inform Americans of his first 90 days in office. However, 6 seconds into the broadcast, the audio cut out and remained absent for the remainder of the speech. Although anti-Dean groups claimed responsibility and took pride in the sabotage, many civilians claimed that it benefited the president. The silent broadcast highlighted President Dean's sincere facial expressions and lively disposition, as opposed to the stern and stiff personalities of prior administrations. Viewers were proud to see a man in his prime at the most important position in the country. Ironically, President Dean's popularity grew after the technical difficulty, and film director Stanley Kubrick went on to call the broadcast the greatest silent film ever made.
Air Force One Angel. That last video was quite the documentary. On August 17, 2003, Air Force One made an unannounced trip across the continental United States. Many civilians claimed to have seen the aircraft drop packages on various national monuments. Heck with the monument crap. Golden State Bridge. Then the Statue of Liberty. Slowly consuming everything. What is that? White House officials later disclosed that the unusual flight of Air Force One was unauthorized and unmanned. The lone figure seen inside the plane, dubbed the Air Force One Angel, has yet to be identified. Lincoln Looker.
I was a Lincoln Looker for 2 weeks. It was terrifying. One moment you're at home answering the door, and the next you're stuck in some kind of suit. The smell was awful in there, and the metal seat was so cold. The only thing you can do is look through 2 little holes. It was some kind of mask, and whenever the sun shined near, I could see the inside of it. It was a familiar face. Every few nights, straws would be put through the holes, and someone would feed me some weird soup. After 2 weeks, they found out that they had misidentified me, and I wasn't the correct Lincoln Looker. Reagan apologized to me personally, and I was released with some monetary compensation. They don't care if I talk about it or not. No one would take me seriously. Lincoln looking is just too absurd.
Mask? Thing looked disgusting.
There's always that someone that we dislike more than everyone else. Not usually famous or important, but they've done something that's affected us personally. Often you're the only person who remembers this act. And I've been that bad, but memory hurts. Everyone experiences this, and the president is no exception. Except he can do something about it. Every president can choose one person to be a Lincoln Looker. After their alibi is fabricated, the person is abducted from their home, and they stay a Lincoln Looker for as long as the president sits in office. Nobody can question his decision, and it's no trial. You might be surprised, but it's nothing new. It's been a tradition. Lincoln Lookers have been around for a very long time.
Yeah, but what is the point? Due to rumors that Lincoln Lookers were imprisoned behind presidential portraits, White House officials publicly removed and reinstalled the portraits to demonstrate there's no space for Lincoln Lookers. So they're just showing us the walls behind these portraits.
Hello, we are not available now. Please leave your name and phone number after the beep. We will return your call.
Hey,
Oh.
Dennis. It's Howard. I don't know what I just saw. I was at the top of the steps, reading the inscriptions and talking to visitors, when I started to hear a faint scratching sound. I didn't think much of it at first, but when I got close to the chair, I realized that the scratching was coming from inside the marble. So I went to a guard and asked whether she could do anything about animals that could be trapped in there. She told me not to worry about it, and that they'd take care of it once there were fewer visitors. A few minutes passed, and the scratching became much louder. I went back to the guard and asked what kind of animals usually got stuck in there, and she said, wild animals. The sound started to make visitors anxious. I remember one boy pulling so hard at his mother's hand, begging to leave. A blind girl with one of those canes went up to the chair and pressed her head against it to listen. Then she started crying. Her parents tried to pull her away, but she just began to hit the chair with her cane. That's when the guards asked everyone to go back down the steps. I don't know why, and it's going to sound crazy, but I felt compelled to help. So I went to the blind girl and joined her in hitting the marble. The guards tried to pin us down, but the scratching became too loud for even them. It sounded like someone was shaving down a chalkboard. Eventually the marble began to crack, and a few more hits caused the crevice to expand all the way to the top of the chair. There was a sudden burst of air from the damage, and the head suddenly turned toward us. I was afraid it would fall, so I picked the girl up and went down a few steps. The head slowly rotated back into place, and when it started to be pushed upwards, I took out my camera. It was no wild animal.
It was a Lincoln Looker. Howard Melrose recorded the following images. Alright, so I know in the beginning I said I was just going to react until Lincoln Looker, but I might as well watch Washington Wormhole and Delaware Double. So we're just going to watch those real quick. The Special Tree.
The forest fell swiftly as the lumberjack swung, except for the special tree, which could not be stung. She missed her friends and the hymns they sung. So she started a tune that broke the man's lung.
Whoa. Timeline of events. (1840). First photograph of the special tree is taken. 1848. Construction begins. They started building the Washington Monument around this freaking thing, bro. (1861 to 1865). Construction halts due to the Civil War. Prisoners of war are seen being led into the unfinished tower. There we go again. Just grinding them up. 1888. It's finished. Construction is completed. 1910. The Washington Monument becomes a major tourist attraction. Hear the music within its walls. 10 cents per head. (1910 to 1971). 20 individuals disappear while visiting the Washington Monument. The missing visitors are known as the Washington absentees. Dude. 1972. The Washington Standard Operation, a classified film titled Washington Standard Operation, is leaked by news agencies. Bro, they were getting sacrificed to the special tree. Monument entrance door. Hoisting cable? Where's the tree at, though? Sound waves. What the heck happened? Oh. (1972). 2000. It got vandalized. But what does it say, however? The infection is nigh. The music of Washington will end. Another thing talking about infection. 2003. What is this picture? Video. There's the freaking special tree. Just poking its little hand out. What the heck? What just happened? All 19 Washington absentees are found unconscious at the base of the monument. I thought it was 20. Delaware River Journal. Delaware River, USA.
The discovery made by two fishermen has sent shockwaves across the nation. Around 4 p.m. on Christmas Eve, Ralph Grassman and Michael Tillman were reeling in the last batch of catfish when something on the ice caught their eye. It looked like a bicorn, one of those hats from way back when, said Grassman, the rest of the two who also organized the trip. Grassman walked down the ice to retrieve the hat. When he pulled back the hat from the ice, he tumbled back in shock at the sight of a human scalp, partially exposed in the leg.
Ugh.
Tillman walked over and after a brief discussion with Grassman, agreed to remove the rest of the body from the ice. The effort took several hours, but by 10 p.m. the fishermen were able to pull the entire body from the ice with no further damage. Although both men had presumed that the individual was already dead for some time, Tim exclaimed in shock when he reportedly saw the individual's eyelid twitch. Grassman suggested to immediately take the body home in an attempt to revive the frozen man. They proceeded to carry it back to Grassman's apartment. They laid the body in a full bathtub, gradually raising the water's temperature throughout the night to prevent shock. Grassman claims to have learned this technique from a pulp magazine he had read as a child. At 2 a.m. the following morning, Tillman claimed that an individual briefly regained consciousness and shouted, "Victory or death," while Grassman rested in the living room. At 7 a.m., the frozen individual appeared to have relapsed into a deep coma, which prompted Grassman to inform the local authorities. And that's why he hadn't called medical personnel earlier. Grassman told reporters that he didn't want to risk the lives of the first responders, who had been driving on slippery roads in the dark. Shortly after being found, paramedics arrived and rushed the frozen man to a Delaware State Hospital. Throughout the experience, both fishermen thought the individual's face seemed vaguely familiar. It was only when Tillman pulled out a dollar bill that the connection was fully made. When we first dug him out, we moved his clothes so that we could carry him more easily. Clothes weighed a ton because they were completely frozen over. By both, we saw the clothes without ice, and we could have no doubts that we dug out George Washington. Although Delaware State Hospital has declined to comment on the identity and the condition of the man, Grassman brought the bicone hat from the previous days of the Delaware History Museum. The historians confirmed to be an authentic piece from the 18th century. The validation raised more questions than answers, as further research revealed that no Washington reenactors or artifacts have been reported missing. Grassman believes that the man he dug out from the ice is the true George Washington, and that the former president had become gravely ill while crossing the Delaware River. Grassman claims that the imminent death of Washington could have been devastating to the war effort, so his condition was likely kept secret by having a double acting as the president until 1797. When asked for an explanation to why the body had been found so far from the site of the battle, Grassman replied, "He either drifted away or his men purposely planted it far away so that no one could find it." During Saturday's morning press conference, President Dean shared his thoughts on the discovery in 2 words: "I'm surprised."
I'm surprised too. The Delaware Double aired on WBOC TV on 12/27 something. Delaware River Journal ceased operations. They really found the original George Washington. Alright y'all, that was part 1 to the Monument Mythos. I think it's looking really good. If y'all did enjoy the video, make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll catch y'all next time. Peace out.